I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you would all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, and thank you all for coming tonight. Before we get started, I just want to remind everyone of our agreed upon core values that we've been working on and towards all year, and those are integrity, perseverance, family, respect, collaboration, and trust. These values have supported our mission and continue to support our mission of being a caring community school dedicated to excellence, and our vision of being a safe, dynamic learning community where people of all ages will think, aspire, and participate as responsible citizens in an ever-changing global society. This meeting is being held in person and on Zoom. And Diane, I don't think we have any board members on Zoom. Okay, thank you. So I just want to go over a few things that the protocols that we follow for, first of all, for citizen comments and public participation, which is number 9 on tonight's agenda. In accordance with RSU policy RSU 38 policy BEDH, public participation at school board meetings, the following guidelines will be followed. For those attending via Zoom, you will notice that the microphones are muted except during the identified portions of public comments at this meeting. Again, this is number 9 on the agenda tonight. If you're viewing on Zoom and would like to speak during the public comment times, please use the chat feature to notify Diane McGregor and she will communicate with me. In-person speakers, please sign up on the sheet on the clipboard by the door. All speakers, please identify yourself with first and last name and the town that you live in. Priority will be given to individuals who live or pay taxes in our member communities, immediate family members of enrolled students, and employees of RSU 38. Individuals that do not have one of these direct connections to our district may or may not be given permission to speak at the direction of the board chair. We ask that speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes, and if someone who has a similar view as yours speaks ahead of you, please reference their comment rather than repeat the same ideas again. We really want to hear from all of our stakeholders, and we ask that you be respectful with your constructive comments to the board. I'd also like to explain how we address concerns that people bring to the board. In accordance with RSU 38 policy BEDH, we welcome all respectful comments and concerns, and we ask that you not use any derogatory comments or use names of or identifying comments of any district personnel. We cannot discuss specific personnel matters in the public setting, but we can listen to broad concerns that folks may have. Following the meeting, we'll take time to do some research on any questions that we have and then bring the answers back the following meeting. Again, you can always contact the superintendent if you have any questions or any concerns that you feel aren't being addressed. Again, thank you all for attending. We really appreciate you being here tonight. So we're going to start off our meeting tonight with some recognitions. Okay, so let me see if I can. Ready? So when I call your name, if you would just come up to the podium and receive your certificates, and then just stay right here until all of the folks in your group have come up, okay? Everybody all set with that? Okay. The first group to be honored tonight is those who have earned the seal of biliteracy. And we start with Jaden Bryant. Jordan Carr. Allie LaBelle. Addie Watson. Shyla Woodford. Theo Colvin, and Lillian Corrigan. If all board members would please stand for these, to recognize these young people who have done a great job. Okay, the next group is for earning an associate's degree. We start with Annabelle Brand. Morgan Boynton. And Esme Jameson. We'll still stand and give them a standing ovation, even though they're not here. Okay. Next, we have the top 10 scholars for the class of 2023. Right. Jaden Bryant. Jordan Carr. Mary Hatt. Esme Jameson. Allie LaBelle. Sophie Marr. Lena Martinez Nacito, sorry. Sophia Tweedy. Addie Watson. And Shyla Woodford. So if the board would please stand for Next, we have the new inductees into the National Honor Society. Kendra Bohr. Ava Candage. Anna Clausen. Claire Dwyer. Adam Ellis. Carolyn Masita. Eric Nelson. Okay, let's do this again. Ella Martinez Nacito. Sarah Muniz. Sorry about my pronunciation. Elizabeth O'Donoghue. Stella Pattershall. Thatcher Riley. Eli Smith. Cooper Tarbuck. And Hope Webb. Would the board please stand? So the next group of recognition is for those students who are being inducted into the National Technical Honor Society through CATSI. Maya Ladd. Jared Mrazek. Isabel Savage. Shyla Woodford, and Cassidy Timms. Thank you. And now we have a special award for a 2022-23 Skills USA State Championship Gold Medal. And this was in the electrical construction wiring, and this is for Jared Mrazek. The next group is for All State Music Festival. We'll start with Silas Bartol, Jaden Bryant, Kristen Dunlop, and Hannah McAdam. Okay. Now we're moving on to some middle school awards. The first one is, the first group is for achievement of honor roll all 3 years at middle school. Carter Bennett, Brennan Boyd, Benjamin Chiampa, Nicholas Chiampa, Jack Fontaine, Isabel Gannett, Willow Groenhope, Abigail Hageners, Caitlin Hall, Hannah Hebert, Madeline Jacobson, Candace Luce, Jacob Lyons, Mia Mahoney, Taylor O'Donoghue, Ava Pare, Michael Parks, Will Perry, Ulan, Evelyn Stevenson, Colby Webb, and Milo Winter. So the next group of students are a group of students who have actually achieved high honors for all 3 years at middle school. So we'll start with Greta Barnes Bucker. Sorry. Mila Conway. Mia, sorry. Cooper Davis. Emerson Dunlap. Reagan Dwelly. Leela Gurney. Lena Hannon. Katie Payne. Tristan Riley. and Katie Timms. And now the board would like to recognize our student representatives that have come to all of our meetings and given us some great reports on what's going on in their schools at the middle school and high school. So we want to thank you for all the work that you've done all year and just let you know how much we appreciate those wonderful reports that you gave us. So I'd like to start with Carter Bennett. Leah Gurney. Taylor O'Donoghue. Well, those were the middle school ones. I guess they didn't want to stand up here too, but the board will still stand. Thank you. And for the high school, Abigail Allen. And Taylor McBurney. And oh, awesome, thank you. And the last two are for two students who are not here tonight, but we really want to give them our great thanks and appreciation for actually being student board members. They've come to every meeting, they participated in the board with us, they've given us their insights into what's going on in their schools, which has really helped us to make some of the decisions around what we had to do in the schools. So we really appreciate all of their work and contribution to the school board this year. And that's Eric Nelson and Esme Jameson. And again, congratulations to everyone. Thank you for all of your hard work this year and have a great summer. Anybody did reading? No, you guys did fantastic. I was checking out. So, good names. Like, you did good. You did really good. There's a little comedy for someone who's laughing. So the next thing on the agenda is to hear from our students. So we'll start with middle school or high school. Who wants to start? High school, go ahead. All right. We'll let high school start. So we've got Abby and Taylor to give us a report for what's been going on at the high school.
Hello, so I'm just going to be discussing council and senate. So because the year is wrapping up, we're not doing too much in senate, but council has finished going through our applications and have accepted and placed people for next year's committees. We have also put together our new council with heads of committees and our new officers for next year. Our officers are Maggie Morrill as president, Molly Woodford as vice president, Cassie McCormick as secretary, and Silas Bartol as treasurer.
In softball's quarterfinals are tomorrow against Deerdio. Tennis is today the tennis team won their first ever state championship. Other playoffs are to be decided. For Humanities Nights, the art program set up by the Humanities Night a couple weeks ago, showcasing Marana Cook student artwork along with performances by the concert and jazz band and the concert and chamber chorus. And since the end of the year has come, yesterday the class of 2023 graduated. The last couple of weeks have been filled with award ceremonies, scholarship awards, and many, many goodbyes. Congratulations to the class of 2023.
And that's all we have for tonight.
Thank you. So now Carter, Leela, and Taylor. Taylor?
So on Royal, we have been wrapping things up for the end of the year. In Miss Ryder's core class, we have been building houses out of materials that we brought in. We are building these houses so that we can test them to see if they hold up different types of natural disasters, like floods, volcanoes, mudslides, and tornadoes. We are currently testing our homes to see if they can survive the different types of natural disasters. In Miss Cher's core class, we are learning about how global warming is affecting our world and things we do every day. We are researching different ways global warming happens. In Ms. Satterfield's core class, we are reviewing things that we have learned like weather and waves, ocean currents, and the sun. In our choice classes, we are making PSAs about the problem in our world and sharing them with our class. We also just did an informational essay about that same problem in our world. And all of our math classes are finishing up our unit testing. On Katahdin, students have been finishing up their unit on the Holocaust and ELA. And students went on a trip to Coles Transportation Museum at the end of May and met with veterans to learn about their experience in wars. Math groups have been finishing their final math units of the year, with transformation projects in 8th grade and 7th grade working on percents and solving graphic inequalities in 8th and 6th grade. Last week, they went on a field trip to Monkey See, Monkey Do in Wiscasset to work on team building and challenging themselves with a difficult rope course in zip lines. They have also been working on Flipgrid videos and buddy letters to welcome the new 5th graders, upcoming 6th graders who will be joining the new teams in the fall.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Carter. So, like the student council at the high school, student government has just been wrapping up their plans for this year and planning what they want to do next year. On the Sebago team, they've been working on creative writing inspired by the book The Mysteries of Harris Burdick. Then they've also been working on they've also been learning about environmental sustainability in your home and building when you're building your home. So Acadia was recently part of an immigrant naturalization ceremony where immigrants become citizens. They worked together to help with the ceremony and went off without a hitch. Some students were able to interview immigrants about their experiences. Each student chose a country of someone who was immigrating. Acadia also has a world fair coming up tomorrow where they'll showcase all the work they've been doing studying the country of their choice. And for musical ensembles, band and chorus and chamber choir and jazz band have a concert tomorrow. And a couple days ago, they had their Funtown Splashtown music festival, which unfortunately the Funtown part was rained out, but they did get to perform and get advice from professionals. Thank you.
Okay, is any questions or comments from the board? I just want to say that I attended the naturalization ceremony and it was incredible. So thank you so much to the Acadia team and the middle school for putting that on because it was very moving. It was a wonderful ceremony. So thank you for all the work that you put into that.
It was great.
Okay, thank you. So next on the agenda is a presentation from our curriculum director, Karen Smith. Yep. Good find her.
Good evening. So in your board packets this week, we should have had 2 reports that
Karen, you'll have to move the mic over or adjust it a little bit because can't hear you.
Okay, so in the board report, you had the ESEA end of year report as well as the NUIA report. And I'm just going to highlight some of the some key points. Yep. So typically our ESEA goals are pretty much the same every year. We're focusing on strengthening our core instruction, while also addressing students that have gaps and need additional supports to meet end of year grade level goals. And we have been focusing on really using database decision making and supporting those efforts and really focusing on improving overall math and literacy achievement in the district, which is an important goal for any ESEA application. So
Karen, can I just stop you for a minute? Can
Yeah.
you just tell us what ESEA stands for?
So the
Make sure everybody
elementary,
knows.
yeah, so the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, which was originally the first education law in 1965. The most recent reauthorization of that is the Every Student Succeeds Act of 2015. And it really was put into law because to address achievement gaps due to poverty, students living in poverty in our country.
Thank you.
So the title projects, they're described in full detail in the report, but the majority of the funds that we receive from federal ESEA dollars goes towards salary and benefits of positions to support math and literacy. So math and literacy specialists, interventionists, and ed techs. Then we also have funds that have provided professional development. And again, I described some of the professional development that we did this year through those funds. And then family engagement activities and a teacher quality project. We had hired a consultant support a former UMF student teacher supervisor to help support new teachers that's separate from our own, required mentor system. We started that 2 years ago because of the high turnover rate in staff and difficulty in supporting their needs coming through the pandemic. So that has been a successful project as well. So this is just to give a snapshot of the ESEA allocations over the past 5 years, and then what we've received as the anticipated amount for FY24. That's not the final, so it could go up a little bit more. But as you can see, the overall it's trending down in what we receive. And if you consider what I just said previously about 80% of these funds go towards positions, where the amounts are going down, salaries and benefits are only going up. So there is kind of some decision making on how to best use these funds and be more efficient to stretch them moving forward. So connected to the ESEA goals and part of the accountability from the federal and state is that we have to assess students in grades 3 through 8 and then once in high school. And the state of Maine has been using the NUIA MAP growth as our state assessment. And the last regular administration of that by the state was in the fall, and the state, and I've stated this previously in different reports, has created a new assessment. They partnered with NUIA, but they're doing the through assessment, which happened this spring, this past month. Those results won't be available yet, so I don't have them. But however, we did want to have an end of the year data point. So in a couple of slides in a moment, I'll show you the spring data results as well as the growth projections from fall to spring. But this does show the fall MAP growth. And I don't know if you remember in September when I presented, we had a concern because of last spring's participation rate. And in order, ESEA requires us to have 95% participation rate. We were at like a 90 for all district-wide. And so we had set some goals and did some things in September. And then also, again, in the spring. But as you can see, the participation rates in the fall did reach the 95% as it shows in the report. So that was good. Another thing to look at, is the proficiency level in the,
if you think of like the bell curve, you want 50% of your population to score at or above a proficiency and below. That's kind of where it would fall. And so we were doing pretty well with reading. Math, we're not quite hitting the mark as to the level that we would want. So then on the next slide, we look at another way to look at student achievement is looking at their growth and what we are projected on what students should meet from fall 2022 to spring 2023 and whether or not they met those growth projections. And so as you can see, it's again not quite on the mark where we want to at least have 50-50 meeting the growth projections. And then this is another kind of view snapshot. These are the spring map scores. So we ended up double testing, so to speak, in the spring so that we could actually have a data point because we don't have the through assessment results from the state. So that we could get, those results and capture that. And, these actually look pretty good. Again, you want to have, 50% above, 50% below the percentile. And so we're pretty close when looking at it from this point, a little bit behind in math, but over that mark in literacy and reading. Oh. So does anyone have any questions? A lot to unpack. Tyler?
So I guess I'm gonna go straight to positions. So I've been on the board for 2 years, and over those 2 years, we've had a lot of talk about cutting intervention services. I mean, I think this data shows that, I don't know if that's the correct approach where 60% of students are below standard in math and 45 are in literacy. Do we have pre-COVID data points to kind of compare this to in terms of what I'm assuming there was loss during the pandemic. Students fell behind during the pandemic. So I'm just going to bake that in to this data. But I guess my concern has been, as you say, the funding is going down. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask the taxpayers to put more on the property tax base if we need to remedy this. So is there, I guess, a plan to make up some of the loss in state funding with additional funding from the towns, going forward, or was that baked into this year's budget?
So, I mean, those are great questions. I would say that the real focus, going back to how you started, is it's really the core, the tier one, the core instruction that we need to focus on. So it's not necessarily that, the intervention positions aren't cutting the mark. That's not it. It's the core that's really the issue. So, and then as for, thinking of budgeting, absolutely. I mean, as you know, the budget process is grueling and trying to, utilize in the funds, appropriate them, to the best that we can. And then, what do we, at the end of the day, what are we bringing back to the town? I mean, we're just going through this process. So as I think this year was probably the highest increase had ever. So that was something to be mindful of. I think we can be creative. Mandy and Jay having conversations. One thing about those positions that are paid out of grants, the main PERS, if it's a grant funded position, they hit it like 18% more on the benefit than if we were to pay that through the general fund. So it almost feels like, that if we could figure out ways to address that, it might give more funds toward professional development and in strengthening that core curriculum. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. And I can just kind of echo what Karen just said. That with these funds, if we're putting them in positions then we don't have the money to work on core instruction. We're just working on students who might be in intervention services. And if we're trying to balance the scales, we really need to get some of those title funds back into like the regular ed classroom. And then we have to talk about, so how are we going to fund those intervention positions? So it's trying to balance that scale because you're moving money from one spot to the other when you're dealing with positions.
Right, I guess my question is not so much on moving money, it's more of, do we need to allocate more money? And I think given these test scores, I don't think it's unreasonable to ask the town to help cover that gap.
And I just want to add one thing, Tyler. I think if we really look at our tier one instruction and we put money into professional development, really shore up that tier one instruction, the goal is not to need so many interventionists and not to have so many students that will need those extra services. So I really think we need to really concentrate on that tier one instruction. So thank you for saying that.
Can I just, yeah, so with that tier one instruction that I know I'm on the curriculum committee and I know that they've chosen and piloted and done a tremendous amount of work, support from all of the administrators, the superintendent, everything has been set up so that there will be this quality research-based tier one instruction, and that the research on that says that 80% of students will achieve reading at grade level by the end of third grade with a research-based reading program that's implemented with fidelity. And so then you need far fewer interventionists. And really, I just so support the district's mission on that. And I'm so grateful that that's the direction that you've taken. And thanks for the work on that.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Karen. Thanks, Dr. Stinson. Okay, so are there any additions or adjustments to the agenda by the board or the superintendent?
Yes, I do have two for you all. So number 8, letter K, will be the appointment of a first probationary contract teacher, middle school math interventionist, Catherine Boyle.
Is that all right with everyone if we add that to the agenda?
Yes. Yep.
I also have an 8L, which is the appointment of a first probationary contract teacher, the middle school specialized program, behavior life skills, and her name is Catherine Carey.
Is that everybody okay with adding that to the agenda? Okay. Great, thank you. Anything else from board? Okay, so we have committee reports in our packets. Does anybody have any questions or any comments from those committee?
I just want to say I was present at the communications forum on May 16th.
Yeah. So we will make that change in the official
minutes. In the minutes, okay. Any other comments or questions about any of the reports? Okay. Move on to the action discussion informational items section. So is there a motion to approve the minutes of the May 3rd, 2023 special meeting?
I motion to approval of the minutes of the May 3rd, 2023 special meeting.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of May 3rd. Is there any discussion? No? Okay, so we do have a board member online, so we're going to have to do a roll call vote. Okay.
Kristen.
Yeah.
David G.
Yes.
Annie.
Yes.
Wendy.
Abstain.
Tyler.
Stay.
Christine.
Yes.
Kathy.
Abstain.
Patty's not here. Rebecca.
Yes.
Betty.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
Kelty.
Yes.
Kelty, can you try that again? We didn't hear you.
Hi there. Can you hear me now?
Gotcha now.
Yes.
David T. Yes. And Abigail.
Abstain. So I just want to check with people that abstain. Is that because you were not present? That was my reasoning. Okay, thank you.
Nine approved.
So that,
So it does
that
pass.
passed. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 3rd, 2023 regular meeting?
I move to accept the minutes of the May 3rd, regular meeting.
Second. So it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the May 3rd regular meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none? I'll vote.
Kristen.
Yeah.
David G.
Yes.
Annie.
Yes.
Wendy.
Yes. I mean, abstain, sorry, I wasn't there.
Tyler.
Yes.
Christine.
Yes, but I'm sorry, I have to abstain from the previous vote. I was not at the special meeting. I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about the regular board meeting on the 3rd.
No worries. So for this one?
Yes, I was
Yes,
there,
okay.
for sure.
Sure. Kathy,
Abstain, because I wasn't here.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Betty,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Yes.
and David T.
Yes.
and Abigail.
Yes.
So we had 2 abstentions. So it passes.
Okay. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes of the May 10th, 2023 annual meeting?
Motion to approve the annual meeting minutes on May 10th.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of May 10th annual meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Kristen,
Yeah.
David G.
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Wendy,
Abstain.
Tyler,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
Kathy,
Abstain. Wasn't you?
Rebecca,
Yes.
Betty,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelty,
Yes.
David T.
Yes.
and Abigail.
Abstain.
So 10 yeses and 3 abstentions.
So passed. So do I have a motion for the acceptance of the resignations listed here? So it'll be Dory Tripp for music, Ryan Burke, Manchester teacher, and then Jordan DeMillo High School. Those will all be effective June 30th, and then Tyne Turcott effective August 3rd. So do I have a motion to accept those resignations?
I move we accept the resignations as listed in the agenda.
So it's been moved and seconded to accept these resignations. Is there any discussion? Hearing none?
All right. Kristen.
Yeah.
David G.
Yes.
Annie,
Yes, with regret.
Wendy,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes, with regret.
Christine,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes, with regret.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Betty,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelty,
Yes.
David T.
Yes.
and Abigail.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
So do I have a motion for consideration a 1-year leave of absence from Manchester Elementary School teacher Amy?
Yep.
I move that we approve a 1-year leave of absence for Manchester Elementary School teacher Amy Haig. Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve the 1-year leave of absence. Is there any discussion? Rebecca?
I just want to say congratulations and I hope she enjoys every moment with that baby.
Anyone else? Okay.
Kristen,
Yeah.
David G.
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Betty,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelty.
Yes. Sorry, guys, this is tricky.
David T. Yes. And Abigail,
Yes.
unanimous.
Do I have a motion for the, to approve the appointment of first probationary contract teacher, high school health and phys ed, Nick Daigle?
Move we appoint, first probationary for high school health and Nick Daigle.
Second. So it's been moved and seconded to approve the appointment of Nick Daigle for high school health and PE. Any discussion? Hearing none.
All right, Kristen.
Yeah.
David G.
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Betty,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelsey.
Yep.
David T.
Yes.
And Abigail.
Yes.
It is unanimous.
So is there a motion to consider the revised school calendar for 2023-24 as presented by the superintendent?
I move to consider the revised school calendar 2023, 2024.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the revised calendar. Is there any discussion?
I would just like to say, as somebody who attended graduation at the Civic Center yesterday, I don't think there's anywhere else we can have graduation. I think it is the site that enables the most amount of taxpayers and families and graduates to attend with no restrictions on who can attend, where they can sit. There's ample handicap seating. There's ample space, room for anybody who has health concerns to attend. And I think it's finally time to recognize the limitations of the high school gymnasium. I am for this.
Any other?
Yeah, I would just say that it seems, and I don't know, but in my experience, most of the community members and constituent stakeholders have said that they would really prefer to have it at the Civic Center. So I'm mindful of that, in support of that.
Rebecca?
I appreciate all the work that went into doing all three of the different venues and comparing them. And I agree that after watching the graduation last night, it was great there. And I've attended two now. Both of my boys have graduated at the Civic Center because of the pandemic, and it was a great venue for it. The only thing that I really don't want to see is that we have to change the calendar and have this, have the big thing like we had however many months ago when this all came up, is if we can work the snow days and remote days or whatever, so that we don't have to change the calendar and then create confusion, because that's the part that just bothers me.
Anyone else? Sean?
So I guess I kind of want to echo what Rebecca said. This did create a lot of upheaval, I feel, from the people I heard from on both sides of it. It caused a lot of angst for people who are graduating next year. It caused a lot of angst. I still don't like the fact that we could have remote days. I mean, I think that was clear in a previous vote. I feel like we're kind of back there. I will support it for now, but I'm not going to give up on this, because I think there could be some other ways to look at this. That's where I'm going to leave it. I don't like the fact that there's remote days. I think this board sent a message. We had a vote where we didn't want remote days. That was clear, but we're kind of back there. But after what I've heard from some of the folks who will be graduating next year, I will vote to move forward for tonight.
Anyone else?
Next year, if we could look into shifting the first day of school. I know we're talking a lot about next year, but I think same should be on our radar in the future to keep everybody happy.
So just to clarify, if we do vote in favor of this, that means that the graduation date for 2024 will be June 4th, with the graduation being held at the Augusta Civic Center. And that we will also include 2 traditional storm days and 2 remote learning days in the calendar to keep us in compliance with Maine law concerning the graduation date. So if we vote in favor of this, that means that it will be at the Civic Center and it will be, and we will have at least two, we will have 2 remote days, just to clarify that. Okay? So I'm gonna, go ahead.
I probably ought to not say something because it's pretty much repeating. I like the idea of continuing to work on making sure things are going to work for everyone. Whether that involves not eventually having any remote days. We should talk about these things and keep working on them. I was able to watch online yesterday and I was very grateful for it because of work requirements. I wasn't able to be there, but I was able to watch online and then include my wife. It looked like a very good attendance and my daughter graduated in the gym and it was hot and crowded is the way they remember it. And the broadcast was excellent. I felt the way it was done, it seemed very professional. I was impressed.
Any other comments from the board or questions?
I'm just gonna add,
Wait a minute, let's, Wendy?
As somebody who has a child in the class of 2024, I want to say thank you for reconsidering your votes earlier because it was such a beautiful ceremony yesterday. And I agree. I think that is the place, a wonderful place for Miranda Cook High School to graduate and all family members can come and see the graduation. So thank you.
I was just gonna add, I've heard from a lot of community members who don't necessarily have students in the district, but pay taxes that are very supportive of this move as well.
So before we take a vote, I'd like to ask if there's anyone in the audience that would like to comment on this particular topic. If you would like to say anything, you could come to the podium. Please make sure you introduce yourself.
So I am Kim Ray. I'm one of the co-master advisors for the class of 2024 with Ruth Nicola, who's walking away. Sorry. And I also have Travis Magnuson, who's a co-advisor for, or an advisor for the class of 2024 as well. We are very pleased to hear what you're saying right now. As you can imagine, it's very rare that high school students agree on anything, whether it's advisee day out or the prom theme or what type of cupcake they want for their birthday. We have 100% of our students are asking for this to happen because they really do want their whole families at the Civic Center. And I'm going to turn it over to Travis.
I had a few points to make. I don't know if they're as necessary now, but I'm just going to go ahead, I guess, with a few anyway. First of all, I really respect the school board a lot. I think you have a lot of tough decisions. Tough decisions to make. And what I've always really respected about this group is you always put students first. And that was kind of my number one point here is this is putting students first to have the graduation at the Civic Center. And it's not always, you know, what they want, but this is actually what's best for them too. So they want it and it's what's best for them and best for their families. I know that remote days, kind of my second point is, have been kind of the stickler to this. As a teacher, I am very against remote days, but I'm so for it as long as we, in this case, to have it at the Civic Center. I think it's that important that we have this graduation at the Civic Center, that it's worth having 2 days remote to make this happen for them. So I'm happy you guys have recognized that. So the point I was hoping to make tonight is let's have it next year with this class at the Civic Center. And then if we have to think of something different in the future, that would be great. And then the last point is we're here to fight for the juniors that are going to be seniors. This is something that is really important to them. Like Kim said, it was 100% of the students wanted it at the Augusta Civic Center. And as we're just fighting for them, it's important to recognize that this was their first regular school year that they've ever had as juniors. So they've missed out on a lot. They had a really, really tough freshman year. But one of the benefits that, you know, it wasn't many, but that COVID did have is that the Civic Center was a much better graduation. They saw a better graduation for their friends. And I think it would be really unfair to them for their senior year to be the first group not to have it there. So I really appreciate that you guys have decided to let them hopefully graduate at the Civic Center. Because I think it's our job to fight for the students here and make the students at Maranacook have the very, very best. And our facilities at the high school is not the best. The Civic Center is clearly better. The students want it. So I really, really appreciate you guys listening to the students and us, but most importantly, the students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Turn it over to Adam.
So I'll do my intro, but you know I'm legal. My name is Deanne Mushlet, mother of 4, now mother of 3 Maranacook graduates as of last night. Graduation at the Civic Center, which was phenomenal. And a word about remote. I'm really thankful to this board that you're going to consider the Civic Center and remote days to get us through. But I think remote is a good option, not just for weather. In the time that we've been in this district, there have been water issues that have shut down the school. There have been school threats to students, power outages. These can be turned into remote days. I know it works better for some than for others, but it's an option. The district went to pains to implement this for COVID. They put in the technology, they put in the people hours. And in the working world, I'm a remote worker. It's not going away. This is a life skill at this point. So I just wanted to make that point. For the rest of it, thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else on the board? Let's vote. Okay, so do we need to repeat the motion or?
Is everyone clear? on the
Everybody
motion?
clear on what we're voting on? Okay.
Kristen, you're first.
Yeah.
David G,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Tyler,
Enthusiastically, yes.
Christine,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Betty,
Absolutely, yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelsey. Kelsey, you're up.
Trying to unmute.
Okay, I'll keep going and we'll come back to it, Kelsey. David T,
Yes.
Abigail,
Very yes.
and Kelsey, can you hear us? We need your vote. No, we're not hearing her, so. No, okay. So it's unanimous of those that voted.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. The next item on the agenda is acceptance of the donations as listed in our packet. Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept donations as read.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to accept the donations. Is there any discussion? Okay, then we will vote.
Kristen.
Yeah.
David G,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Betty,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
we got her back. Kelsey, did you want to vote on the last motion too? Or-
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to mark you down as a yes on both. David T.
Yes.
And Abby.
Yes.
Yeah, so again, unanimous. Yes.
Okay, so the next two items are policies that the first one's a second reading of the policy return to work and light duty assignments, GBGE. Do I have a motion?
I move we approve policy GBGE, return to work and like duty assignments.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve policy GBGE. Any discussion? Okay.
All right. Nope.
Go ahead.
Kristen,
Yes.
David G,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Betty,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelty,
Yes.
No.
David T,
Yes.
and Abigail.
Yes.
So unanimous.
So the next one is, do I have a motion for the appointment of first probation?
Don't forget, you gotta do the homework.
Oh, sorry, I skipped right over one. Let me go back. Okay, policy IKB homework guidelines. This is the third reading. Do I have a motion to approve this policy?
Motion to approve policy is read.
Second. So it's been moved and seconded to approve policy IKB. Any discussion? No discussion.
Okay, Kristen,
Yes.
David G,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yeah.
Christine,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Betty,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelty,
Yep.
David T,
Yes.
and Abigail.
Yes.
Again, unanimous.
Okay, now we'll go on to, is there a motion for appointment for the first probationary middle school math interventionist?
I move that we motion to accept as read.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve the first probationary contract for the middle school math interventions. Any discussion? Hearing none.
All right, Kristen,
Yes.
David G,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Betty,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelty,
Yes.
David T,
Yes.
and Abigail.
Yes.
Unanimous.
So the next one is, do I have a motion to approve first probationary contract for a middle school special ed teacher?
Motion to approve appointment of first probationary contact teacher, middle school specialized program behavioral life skills, Catherine Carey.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve that position. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we will vote.
Kristen,
Yes.
David G,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
excuse me, Rebecca,
Yes.
Betty,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelty,
Yes.
and David T,
Yes.
and Abigail.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay, next on the agenda is citizen comments. Do we have anybody that has signed up for citizen comments? Okay. let me get the- What order? Rebecca's gonna get it. Okay. Michelle. Oh, Michelle's gonna get it. There's somebody's gonna get it. Sure. Thank you. So first on the list is Jean Rosner.
Good evening. My name is Jean Rosner. I'm a resident of Reedfield, Maine. Yesterday, our middle school staff was blindsided by the news that the middle school will no longer be offering French. The concise information shared made it clear that this decision, a decision representing a permanent change to our curriculum and staff positions, is not up for discussion. The most concerning part of this decision, and others like it currently impacting our students and staff, is how this decision came to be. This type of decision-making goes against our collective tradition of shared leadership and seems to defy school board policy ABB/GBB, which states that the district will ensure that there is a process in place to encourage meaningful professional staff input. Our community, professional world language staff, middle school team leaders, the district administrative team, and the school board have not had the opportunity to participate in this decision. Our existing shared leadership and decision-making structures were not utilized. An opportunity for staff input and buy-in has been missed. My request tonight is twofold. One, please allow the middle school to advertise for a French teacher and the continuation of our French programs and world language curriculum. Two, as a board, please voice your commitment to the use of our existing district-wide shared leadership structures by directing the middle school to engage their collective leadership to solve this situation. There are many other reasons why this decision is concerning. One argument that was shared was that there were no candidates. Our district listed the open middle school position for approximately 1 week over Memorial Day weekend. While there were not yet applicants, staff members are aware of at least 2 candidates that have expressed verbal interest. Making this decision and removing the posting means there'll be no hope for filling that position. Another argument presented was that the district advertised for a high school French teacher for the past year and didn't find one. The high school position was advertised as a 1-year position, hardly interesting for a teacher when permanent positions are available. And teaching at the middle school and high school levels are 2 different beasts. Supporting a high school French program without a middle school feeder program appears inequitable and makes growing a robust high school French program difficult. Many of our students have families that speak French, and this learning opportunity supporting their heritage is now lost to them. If our remaining world language teachers provide instruction to all middle school students as directed by the school board, this means an average of 25 students in each world language classroom, well beyond the limits set by our school board. This decision at this time leaves little time for planning and adjusting to this change. Countless hours have been spent reaching consensus around our school schedule. Those hours simply don't exist between now and Tuesday's last day. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Jean. Carrie Anderson?
Hi, I'm Carrie Anderson. I'm the high school German teacher and the department head of world language at the high school. I'd like to thank Jean for her statement and her help as a wonderful chaperone on our GAP trip, which we just returned from recently. When I heard the news this afternoon that the middle school was not going to fill their French position, I was shocked and upset. And I'd like to kindly and firmly request that we fill that position, that we try to find a French teacher. It is not appropriate to end a search right now for that. And I second everything that Jean shared, so I'll just share some other thoughts. Our 6 through 12 world language program is a wonderful, unique program that is known around the state for offering 3 languages from grades 6 through 12. We should be proud of that and do everything we can to support that, to support a full, robust 6 through 12 world language program with 3 languages. We need support too as world language teachers. We often are made to feel that we are less than. For example, would our school end the search for a math teacher after 2 weeks if no appropriate candidate was found? We need to feel valued and supported, and cutting a decision or cutting a position without without discussion or without having input and problem solving together does not feel supportive. French holds an important position in Maine. It's the 2nd most widely spoken language in our state behind English. Maine is becoming more and more culturally diverse. French is a bridge between our past, present, and future in Maine. And teaching children languages, regardless of what language it is, really helps children gain different cultural perspectives, help them be more open-minded, and it can help better prepare them for an increasingly diverse future. And younger children typically pick up language faster. We want our younger kids learning language. And I have witnessed firsthand how exposing students to another language and culture can open their minds and build their confidence. When I returned from our GAP trip, students who were previously quite nervous to speak up in both English and German are now speaking with much more confidence and pride in both languages. And I've heard feedback from multiple other teachers that these students are in, that they're so proud of their increased self-advocacy skills and overall engagement and communication skills. We all work together in the middle school and high school. We support each other, and we want to work as a team to continue to offer our 3 wonderful programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Margot Burns-Georgi.
Hi, I'm Margot Burns-Georgi. I'm from Wayne, Maine, and I just want to share with you some of the experience I have witnessed as well as myself gone through. So I went to Wayne Elementary, and then I went to the middle school and the high school, and I met this amazing man in the high school when I was 15 years old. We got married and had 3 children. Our children went through the schools, and we had the opportunity to experience ourselves and have our children experience taking world language. And our daughter just spent a year in Norway studying dance, and she got to go to Ireland and to Barcelona and just England. And having myself gone to Germany when I was 16, I can tell you that it really made me feel a sacredness for this world and for the planet and for people. And I think it is such a gift for a child to get the opportunity to learn another language, that they could actually go somewhere else, whether it's with the military, whether it's with the GAP program, to go and to meet someone that may look different than them, or they get to try a different food, or get to have the experience of feeling connected in a deeper way, so much deeper than being from Wayne, Maine. I love Wayne, but it's, you know, it's pretty homogenous. And having that experience, I think, will help us to be a community that can reach out to the greater world and feel connected. I'll just tell you some quick stories, but I remember being in Germany, looking out my window and seeing on the ground a little hedgehog. I'm like, oh my God, you know, it was so exciting. It may sound so silly and trivial, but seeing a hedgehog versus a squirrel was pretty cool. And it made me just realize this world is so big and so beautiful, and we need to inspire our children to feel like they can go beyond the bounds. Like, I have some students in my German classes who I don't think have been to the ocean of Maine, you know, and it's like, let's inspire them to go beyond, to see further. And we know that studying another language improves our memory. My dad has Alzheimer's, you know, I'm thinking these things all the time for our kids, for myself. So I just hope that we realize what a gift it is that we're giving to the students, to give them that opportunity. And today I was working with Ryder Mishu, who is going into Spanish 5 next year. And he said, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have the opportunity in the middle school to take a world language. And as we said, French is so important. And one last story is that if anyone knows, does anyone know Chris McKee? Do you guys know the McKee family? Pretty amazing family. All of them. Robert used to work at the high school, and Walt McKee is an amazing lawyer. All went to Maranacook. Chris went on the GAP program. He's a gentleman about 50. He now stays in touch with his GAP partner, who actually works in Berlin in the German government. They're at each other's weddings. I mean, this is a gift that keeps on giving. Thanks.
Thank you. Leslie Marco.
Hi, I'm Leslie Marco. I'm from Mount Vernon. I hang up with you after about my son in your German class. Keeping track of some of the notes as we make our way through tonight's amazing, and a lot of amazing things happen. Proud kids, proud parents, and that's amazing. I'm glad also that people have been able to regroup and think about graduation and do some research and bring back some information that helps to spread out and look at what the opportunities are. I am curious that graduation, you may have been able to watch it remotely. Who had access to watch remotely? Because I went looking to see if there was a way to access it remotely. I didn't find it anywhere and I missed it. So I didn't get to go and I didn't find a link. So I just would say in the future that if I missed it, I'll tag up with anybody and you can tell me where I missed it. Or can we just be sure that that is very well communicated, very well published so that community members can access any remote access to an epic event like graduation for our high school students. That was one thing. Second thing was back to curriculum. Thank you for sharing what you had tonight. I want to try to understand if there's a certain take on what was shared tonight around my children live in some range that is below expectations at this point in time. Some of what was discussed tonight was the critical nature of reading from up until third grade, I think was a benchmark somebody used. Careful, I'm on two wheels for the first time on this. So I know that there was also discussion we're coming out of from what I think I've learned through the budget process, where we've had a bunch of people in positions that have been funded by grants and we're still behind. And we've put positions in now trying to help recover. And I understand, I think some of the transition from interventionists over to the core curriculum. I think I understand some of that, but I'm worried that if the test scores that we saw on some of the maps today are sharing that there's a load of kids though, that whether it was through COVID or not, that are still very much behind, and we may be in a better place for those coming behind, but how do we still catch kids back up? Even if we adjust some of the core curriculum, do we really still recover the large amount of kids that showed that they were below grade level? So I don't fully understand that. I just know that we're shifting with what we had. We're carrying a bunch forward because that was the decision to make, was to carry positions forward. But we've had some positions for a while and our scores are still low. So I just don't know where there's a chance to access sort of what that might be, what might cause that. And as a parent, just sort of, if there could be a better education as to how to sort of dig in and understand some more of that information or those big numbers, and so that you can understand sort of where you fit and is your child as comparable to other children, and sort of understand where they fit in the bigger picture.
Thank you, Liz.
That is what I had.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I just want to review again. Thank you all, the citizens that have come and given us their information and their opinions. We will definitely do some research and look at the issues that you brought forward, and then we'll come back to you because we're not really prepared tonight to do that. So we will look at it though and come back with some answers to some of those questions. Okay, do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Motion to go into executive session to consider administrative evaluations pursuant to 1 MRSA Section 5, subsection 6, subsection A for principals Jeff Boston, Janet Delmar, Abby Hartford, Michelle LaForge, Rick Soroyce, Assistant Principal Cal Gorman, Dean of Students Sarah St. Pierre, Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment Karen Smith, Special Education Director Ryan Meserve, Adult and Community Education Director Steve Bose, and Technology Director Diane McGregor.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to go into executive session to consider administrative evaluations. Any discussion?
Oh, all right. Kristen?
Yeah.
David G?
Yes.
Annie?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Christine?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Rebecca? Betty?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Kelty?
Yes.
David T?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
So it is unanimous. We are in executive session.
Everyone back?
I think everyone's back.
Everyone back? Everyone's back? Okay. Do I have a motion for the results of our executive session? Those been moved and seconded to approve the salaries and contract extensions as recommended by the superintendent. Any discussion?
We can vote.
We can vote. We can vote.
Nobody's online, so we don't have to
Okay,
do roll
all those
call.
in favor? It's unanimous. So passed. Do I have a motion to go into executive session? So before we, can you hear me? So before we adjourn, I should have done this at the beginning of the meeting and I'm sorry that I didn't, but I'd like to welcome Wendy back to the board. So Wendy Bretherland, she's coming from Manchester, so welcome back. And she's even offered to be our norm person tonight. So she's going to talk to us about how we did with our norms. And I'm going to give you the microphone.
Wow, awesome. Okay, well, now I need my glasses. Okay. I thought everyone did a great job keeping kids at the center. I heard a lot of comments. I heard a lot of comments about keeping kids in the center and the kids first. I thought that was brilliant. Act consistently with our commonly held core values. Oh, you guys got an A+ with that. All the core values I thought were covered tonight. Everyone shared their ideas and airtime, and you waited and listened when people were speaking, and no one interrupted anybody. Everyone, there really wasn't, well, there's a little agree to disagree. So you did great. And be responsible for positive tone of body language. I thought you guys aced it tonight. You did great. Awesome job.
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy, for doing that. I kind of put you on the spot for the night, but okay. So do I have a motion to adjourn? All those in favor? We are adjourned.